Cool. Kia ora. Welcome to Find Your Front. This is episode 1 of our New Zealand Rugby League podcast series. And we're really privileged to be able to have the time here in the One New Zealand Warriors space. So we thank them for the partnership and coming together with New Zealand Rugby League. These conversations are all about well-being, wellness, and we're going to be talking to legends of the game, some of our current Kiwis, players, people within the game that help with that well-being and wellness space. My name's Cliff Thompson. I'm currently wellbeing manager at New Zealand Rugby League and also do a bit of chaplaincy work across sport, but fortunate enough to do some chaplaincy work with the One NZ Warriors as well. To my left here, the legend himself. I'll let him introduce himself.
Talofa, kia ora. My name's Ali. Lauititi. Good to be here. Good to talk about well-being and just how people find their front when they're going through some tough times. But yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to, enough of us. We're going to throw it right to our first guest here today. We're really privileged to have him on here. Charnz, welcome, brother. Tell us a little bit about who you are, even your name, bro. Like, your name's unique airs, very exotic.
Yep.
What's your whakapapa, where you come from?
Yeah, what's up, team? Thank you, firstly, for having me, being able to share a bit about my story. So my name's Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. My first name, I guess, we'll start with that. My mum's sister, my auntie Suzanne, she actually named me, and her meaning behind Charnze is she never had a chance in life. She passed away 2 weeks before I was born, and she asked my old lady if she could name me. So that's the origin of Charnze. My mum likes to be fancy with her spelling, and she come up with how it's spelled. But yeah, Nicoll's my dad's last name, and Klokstad is my mum's last name. She's Cook Island Norwegian. My grandfather's Norwegian. My grandmother on her side's Cook Island, and on my dad's side's Māori and a bit of Scottish, I'm pretty sure, on my nan and pop side.
Well, bro, it's pretty awesome. Didn't know that. Like, thank you for sharing that. And so in terms of upbringing, parents, family, where were you raised?
Yeah, so I was raised here in Auckland. I was raised in Kingsland, 3rd Ave there. We had a family house. It was pretty crack up. Got like aunties and uncles just down the street. Had my cousin growing up there, the best mate on the end of the street. So it was real family orientated. There's about 10 of us all up. So I've got 2 girls, 8 boys of us all up. So that's been a really cool experience for me, because there's a lot of knowledge and experiences from their point of view that I'm able to lean on and learn off. So to have that opportunity with them has been pretty cool. Brought up in Mount Albert, went to Mount Albert Primary, qualified, did a little bit at Bruce McLaren, Henderson. I don't normally say I went to Mags for 5 weeks, but can't count it if it's 5 weeks, bro. So, and then finished my schooling in Melbourne. So
I'm sure they'll still claim it, bro.
Yeah. So I went to a couple schools over there, 3 schools actually, like top around for some reason.
Right.
But
and so with that being 10 of yours, right?
Yep.
Whereabouts do you place in that? And bro, in terms of, in the order, where is Charnze? And then what was that like, bro? That must have been an experience. I mean, we talk about how fun it is and people to lean on, but there must have been some challenges and stuff too.
Yeah, so I'm the 3rd youngest. I've got a little sister and little brother under me, and the rest of my siblings are older. So I can't really remember a lot of the times where we did have a full house, because we had my other siblings living with their mum or their dad. So I've got a fair bit of half siblings, but in my eyes and to me, they're my full-blooded siblings. I love them like I love my full-blooded siblings, and I treat them all the same. Have good banter with a lot of them, and went for a rough time a little bit there when I was a bit younger. We lost one of my brothers. Right. He had physical disability, and so that was my brother Tyson. So we lost him, I think it was just shy of 15, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So that was a bit of a journey for my dad, I guess. That was massive for me. He's not a man that shows much emotion, but it hit him. So that was tough for us as a family.
Yeah. And so within that mix, I mean, obviously the beautiful thing when you got that many people around, or you're part of a bigger family, sport, fun, games, like where was your introduction into sport? Obviously, you're an athletic guy, but where did that start for you?
So I started with my old man. My old man's quite sporty. My mum used to do track as well, so it was a bit of both, but I was really pushed by my dad.
Yeah.
He started off playing rugby union before making the transition to rugby league in Auckland, and he played for the Sydney Newton Dragons when they were around. So Tofa for Sipley's mum was actually my first coach. And
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we were in the same team. So it was really cool to be brought up with sports around, because I guess now that I'm older, I'm able to articulate a lot of emotions and I guess the things that I can get out of sport. And the biggest thing for me has been the friendships and the relationships that I have with people. So
Nice.
I think looking back, it gave us an opportunity to make friends. A lot of my good friends came through rugby league. I had weekend parents, as I would call them, and stayed with them for most weekends doing footy. And yeah, really, really enjoyed growing up with those boys.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask, I know we're probably going to get to your playing career and all that, but I know you talk about like, some, stuff that you went through as a youngster. Do you reckon some of the learnings that you got there, because we talk about resilience and the word resilience is always chucked around, and probably our kids are, listening in, probably they, sometimes us as parents or adults think that you kind of just, you're born knowing how to be resilient, but until you go through something, you probably, those are the learnings that you get out of it. Do you reckon some of those learnings that you learned in the early days, do you reckon it helped you in your footy career, or do you reckon there was some stuff that you kind of brought from how you dealt with those challenges, I guess?
Yeah, so it's in hindsight that you're able to look back and really be grateful for those experiences. I've been real open with my experience with my old lady. She went to jail when I was younger, which actually moved us to Melbourne. That's the reason why we moved to Melbourne. We were struggling. My old man was struggling. And my oldest brother in our family, he flew us over. And it was a tough time. We needed to break out of, I guess, the cycle that was happening here. We were sort of struggling a bit. I still... my old man, we're going through counting, making sure we had enough to pay for the groceries. And sometimes when I find myself being like, man, how much is that? Like, just takes me back to that moment. So those moments there. But I think going through those times, like I've said it to my old lady, and I 100% believe it, I wouldn't be in the position I am right now if those things never eventuated. I was never in the Warriors system, or I wasn't, breaking into teams. There was Tui Lolo here, there's a few boys, Lafu, Tulsa, Ruben Rennie, he's over in France now. These were some of the boys that were coming through in my age group, so I didn't get much of a look in, and I guess those things have helped me become the man that I am, and it's through those experiences that have helped shape my view on the world and how I treat people. And it's still a journey. There's still that relationship of, getting better and improving, and I'm not perfect. No one is.
That's amazing, man, because I know that, I'm sure people out there want to, sometimes you see someone on TV and you hear their stories. I think that's the beauty of podcasts and this kind of platform, is to hear people's stories and the beautiful things that even you talking about your name, the meaning behind it. It's massive, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with someone else. But even your challenges, that's just amazing. 'Cause I'm sure when people look at you like, man, look at Charnze, he's done so much in the game, but where you've come from, just gives you another perspective. So yeah.
And they don't see what a person goes through. They see the end product, maybe, or the highs a lot, without knowing the human that sits behind it and the stuff that you got to walk through, and which are some of the challenges, But like you said, I like what you said, bro, about without it in hindsight, it wouldn't make you the man you are today. Whether that's gratitude or a bit of empathy, looking at those things, you don't have them unless you've gone through a few things, which is really, really powerful, really, really important. If we circle back to, because you mentioned about moving to Melbourne, obviously culture shift, but that's where you started the prospect of playing rugby league took off for you?
Yeah, it was. I was I was really grateful for the opportunity to be able to work inside such a prestigious club as the Melbourne Storm. There was a coach, Kim Williams. Man, my first training session, he absolutely sprayed me. He absolutely sprayed me. I used to walk around in these shoes, and he called them ninja shoes. They were slip-ons,
Oh, yeah.
and we had to run this track called the tan track. So I turned up in my ninja shoes, and he's absolutely gave me a mouthful. And lucky one of the boys had some runners that I can use. But from then on, moving forward, I sort of knew the standard that we needed to be at that level. There was a lot that I was learning. My first trial game, I was playing halfback at the time, and I just come off remembering, like, man, I didn't realize I had to do all that stuff. I didn't know how to kick into corners and move the team around and all of these things. But I look back and see all the hard work. We had a trainer that, you missed a line, didn't make your times. Man, I think every single session we were back doing penalties.
Yeah.
And it was just ingraining, I guess I relate it, the foundation. I was building my foundation as a footy player, and there's a lot of things that have helped me become the footy player I am today, but also the person I am outside of footy too. Work ethic, punctuality, discipline, commitment. All these things were built at such a young age, and they demand it from you in Melbourne. So I thought it was a good introduction to being an elite athlete, I guess.
Yeah, bro. And with that, like, you make mention of the standards of copping a spray and you're young. Like, how does at that age, how do you deal with coming back from that stuff? Like, does it rock your confidence, or like you want to hop back in the car and go home? Like,
Just
how do you deal with that?
Punch their face. Eh?
I guess, I went straight home and I was like, Dad, we're going to go get some shoes tomorrow. And we just went to Kmart and just got some cheap runners just to help me through that. But I guess at a young age, I knew that he just wanted the best for me. And, it's little things that add up to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So it's just ingraining those little details, those habits, those fundamental things that, you can't run hills without running shoes.
Yeah.
You can't play on the field without boots, or can't pass a ball without a ball. So those are just little things. I guess growing up too wasn't, we weren't overly blessed, or, we still had our hard times. And I guess those hard times sort of set me up for those opportunities where, I do get sprayed on my first training session and it's just time to go to work. Just got to show them, I can be here, and I want to be here by the way that I lead.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that, because you can use rugby league as a, so you can apply some of the rugby league stuff that you learn, but also apply it into life.
Yeah.
Like finding your front.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just saying that because I remember watching you, in 2016. You're really observant, and I can see the reason why you were, where you come from and what you've learned. But some of the young boys that have, that are coming through the grades, I think I love what you did, because you watch and you were like a sponge. You kept on learning, and you're always trying to better yourself. And I definitely, what you're telling us now, you kind of learn it from probably your dad, your mum, but also with Melbourne. So what's some good advice that you can give to a person, or one of the boys that are coming through, the young boys, when coming through the grade, what to look for, what are some of the learnings that you learned that probably can help someone that's coming through the grade?
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't feel like you're gonna be, that guy. Even today, we got told something, and I've been told if you're thinking this question, there's a chance that someone else in the room is thinking it as well. So I got no shame, man. Webby, did that mean this? And and then some people are giggling, but these other people too that are like, oh yeah, no, I didn't know that. But just be a sponge too. Don't think you know too much, because you don't. And I guess it's a saying that when I was back here, some of the boys were saying, especially Roger, better never stops. So always improving, always looking to improve, and always doing your fundamentals. I went overseas, and the first thing I did, I went straight up to Josh Hodgson and I said, bro, can you just help me with the shapes, please? And what the calls are. And, you got to build that relationship. You got to start, and you got to be vulnerable too. Yeah. Not everyone's going to feel like they have the answers and questions, but these people in this environment that have a lot of knowledge that they want to share with you, but sometimes you just got to probe them.
That's awesome, because I know there's a Pacific Polynesian sitting out there in the NRL or whatever, a young guy that's coming through, that's sitting there wanting to ask the questions. I think that's important to be courageous too, and just step out of your comfort zone and say that, because those are the questions that you want to ask, but because you're a bit hesitant, you're a bit scared. So
yeah, because you're in charge of, at the end of the day, you're in charge of your development. You got to go home. The coaches aren't going to see what's happening behind closed doors, so you got to look after your eating, your sleeping. People don't know if you don't open up. And sometimes just talking, sort of like with my story. There's a few boys here that have similar stories, and because we have a space where we can share that, they feel open to. But that's with difficult times, but in learning, these other boys that want to learn as well. So it's just getting a group of yous in.
Yeah, no, so important and really cool. And I think I want to sort of jump on now, because you're in Melbourne, and then you make your way back. I think you've alluded to it, 2016. You're back here, debut, I believe. What was that like? And then also your shift back to Canberra. And
yeah, so I was told in 20s, I really wanted to stay there. I was like, yep, I've been here 5 years, sweet as. I want to stay here. And then they just said, we can only offer you a trial and train, or train and trial. And I was like, all right. Well, my mum just got out of prison, so if I'm going to do a trial and train, I might as well ask the Warriors if I can do a trial and train.
Yeah, right.
So I said to my manager if he could ask. He asked, and they ended up coming through with an offer, which was, so cool. Come home, started training. I didn't even realize we got paid. It was so funny. First payment comes through, and I'm like, and then it sort of hit me, like, we do get paid for this.
Yeah.
Sort of didn't realize. But yeah, started my journey there. Worked as hard as I could, and got myself to a position. Most people don't know, but I tore a ligament in my shoulder at the end of my first preseason, and it was so upsetting, because I'd worked so hard and felt like I had put myself in a good position to try and have a good year, and I'd potentially had to get surgery. But they come up with a alternative, and I just had to wear a brace for the whole year. So I wore a brace, and then got surgery at the end of the year. Did my rehab in the next preseason, same thing, same grind, come back, and I was fortunate enough to debut in 2017.
Yeah.
And luckily it was here at Mount Smart. So.
And what was that like for you? You've been a Kiwi boy.
Yeah.
And then now debuting at home. Do you have any thoughts about that or memories of that experience?
Yeah. I was actually just thinking about it yesterday or the other day when we played here, because it was the first time playing at Mount Smart.
Yeah.
And I just remember all the emotions, just sitting here like, I've achieved something that I've been working so hard for since I was, 15. All the train rides out south, and the early morning sessions, the hill sessions, wrestling sessions, all that hard work has paid off. I remember having a moment in the bathroom. I was actually talking to my wife about it the other day. I just said, I remember in the bathroom, I had so much family over. I just felt so overwhelmed. I felt I needed to perform, I guess, or I needed to play well, because I had so much family here to support, somewhere from Australia, some down the line. But I think being in this space and just having the confidence of the boys around me really helped me go out and just play my game, especially Manu Vatuva. He was massive for me. He was always in my corner, just telling me all the basics that I sort of needed to do. And at the end of the day, I was there because I was performing. So you just go out and do your thing.
Do your thing. And then you obviously go over to Canberra. During that time, I believe you debuted for the Kiwis, so you're playing over there, and all of that sort of comes about. Can you talk us through sort of that period of your life and what was happening for you then?
So it was upsetting. I won't lie. I was sitting in I think it's the East Stand over there, doing an interview sort of like this, and my aspirations, I was seeing Juju, Simon Mannering, come through the ranks, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be a one club man. I wanted to be the next 300 gamer. I just wanted to be immersed in the Warriors. And when they sort of come up and just said, if you want to go somewhere you can, sort of thing. So it wasn't like saying you can, like, we want you to leave, but they said if there's an opportunity elsewhere you can go. So that was pretty much half a year into my 2-year deal. And
True.
Everything happens for a reason, I believe anyways. And that led to an opportunity to go overseas to Canberra. I knew that the opportunity wasn't just to walk into the fullback position. I still had to go over there and work hard, and that was what I was going to do. From as soon as I landed, meal prepping, trying to look after everything that I could outside training and give myself every opportunity that I could. And I went there with a mindset that no matter what happened, if I was playing first grade or reserve grade,
Right.
I just wanted to be happy. So that was a massive thing for me. I just wanted to be happy, and luckily enough, I debuted round 1, and I think I missed the last game because they rested us.
Right.
Yeah, went on the GF, unfortunately lost, but it led to test debut, and against Australia, and I played 3 tests for the Kiwis that year. So yeah, it was massive. I really enjoyed my time over there, and the goal, or not the goal, but I could always see myself back here, and I did want to come back home. It's my home club and home team and whatnot, and I debuted here, and I always wanted to come back. I just didn't know how that was gonna fall into place, but man, the way it's fallen into place is crazy. And
and I want to pick that up before we finish up, but just something that sort of come to mind is, and this might be helpful for a few, is, bro, how do you push through things when they don't work out as you had planned them to be? Like you said, you signed a 2-year deal thinking, one club man, this is the plan, this is what I want it to be. And we know, with the benefit of hindsight, right, we look back and we think, I thank God for the opportunity and the things, because it helps me build. But in that moment when it's not working, it's not going to plan, even on the field, right?
Yep.
It doesn't always go how you planned it would. What helps a person, what's helped you work through when things aren't going the way you plan them to go?
I guess it's my faith, my belief in, these are bigger picture. I've always been told, think of the best life that you could ever imagine for yourself. God's got a better one. So I think I had that mindset going overseas. There was, as much as I was disappointed, there was still an excitement, for something to come. Excuse me. And I was willing to go for trial and train contracts, anywhere. And, just had to be patient. And it's so funny. When I finally said to myself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens this year. I'm just going to train as hard as I can, play as well as I can, and whatever happens at the end of the year happens. No word of a lie, the next day, Cappy gives me a call and said, there's an opportunity here if you want it.
Yeah.
So just to be, it was legit probably 6 months of me pushing my manager, what's going on? Same answer. I'll go anywhere. Nah, we don't want you. Or we don't not want you, but we've got enough backs, thank you.
Right.
And to finally get to a point where I was like, you know what, it's, I'm grasping to this life that I'm wanting. And when I finally let go, then I was able to receive.
Nice.
So through that journey, it's been rewarding. It's been cool. There's a lot of ups and downs that have come with being overseas, with my kids being back home as well. But I wouldn't change it, eh? I really, really enjoy the life that I'm living right now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy being back home and going to church when I can, and just building my relationship with God.
Nice, bro. Appreciate that. And because obviously then that leads into coming home.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously you're here now, but coming back, what has that meant for? Because you've got a beautiful young family.
Yep.
A couple of young kids, and I got to see them and meet them for the first time at the media day and stuff like that. And they're full of energy and full of life, but also getting to know you a bit more, how important that facet of your life is. So sort of 2 questions within it. What's it? You've sort of answered a little bit, but what's it like being home, and what's it meant for you to come back, not just to the Warriors, but in New Zealand? But then also, what is it? How is it that your family's anchored you, and having that something outside of your job or your footy, balancing your life out, having other things? Because I know a lot of people struggle with, who am I if I'm not playing sport and my identity? And so maybe a few thoughts on that.
Yeah, so that's really important. And I got told this a while ago as well, not to have your identity as a footy player, because it's something that can be taken away at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my identity, I guess, was a father, was being a dad. I loved it. I really enjoy it, and I still really do. And I guess, you know, they moved back home with their old lady a couple years ago, and I was at a point talking to my manager that I just wanted to chuck it in. I was ready to come home. I didn't care. You know, being a dad was so important to me and is so important to me. But I also had to step back and look at the bigger picture. This is a dream that I'd been chasing since I was 4 years old. Semi-professional since I was 15. You know, I was now 24, 25. But it didn't matter to me at that time. And it was still, you know, trying to go to training with a smile on my face. Yeah, sort of talking about it sort of brings back a lot of memories, eh? It was such a journey. I think but going through that tough time led me to my wife. And sorry.
Nice, bro.
Sorry, bro. It's all good.
She's been massive for me, eh? She's been so massive for me. She showed me a different way of life that I didn't know existed. She helped me through that period of going without my boys. She like you said, she kept me anchored.
Yeah.
She kept me anchored. She was real supportive. She was really supportive of my faith, which was so important to me. And I guess I didn't have to go through that time to know that my faith was important to me, but it made me question what I needed to change.
Right.
And something that needed to change was to have my faith at the front of everything again. Because I sort of lost that. I was here, I was loving church, going to church every time that I could, e-groups, the rest of it. And, you know, I didn't attend a church for the 3 years that I was there until last year.
Oh, wow.
So that was really important for me to do that. And, yeah, now going through that tough time, you know, when I got injured, me and my wife heading towards the supermarket, we looked at each other and we go, something's going to come out of this. And I said, I know. I believe something's going to come out of this too. And I'm back home. I'm back home. The opportunity to come, we were pushing to come home. There was no opportunity. There was nothing. And it eventuated. So for the way to eventuate the way that it did, it eventuated in my eyes and God's timing.
God's timing.
Because my timing was 2 years ago, chucking everything in. So I had to endure that tough time. I had to persevere. And, you know, he waited until I was ready. Because I've come home. I still miss my boys. I had them on the weekend. And these still times. These still times that I miss them.
Yeah,
And that I just want them around me 24/7. But also, I can look back and know that they were a whole weekend away. You know, they're only 3 hours away now. They're not a 2 plane flights and a 3-hour drive. So it's a perspective shift for me to know that, you know, I used to go through this. I used to go through this hard stuff, and now that I'm here, they're only 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So I don't need to. And you gotta tell yourself these things because, you know, you're with yourself 24/7. If you're not looking after yourself, looking after your mind, it's gonna catch up on you. And I think that's the importance of having people around you.
Yeah,
and
man.
for me, it's my wife.
It's powerful, bro. And I think, you've spoken to so much there about the power of perspective, the power of gratitude, all right? Seeing yourself in a moment and being able to see actually where am I now compared to where I was and where I could be. People around you, right? Having good people that you can talk to, people that anchor you, people that love you, that understand, that you can trust to talk with. And then, like you said, and you know, I'll be honest, very similar thing for me, obviously, as a pastor. My faith, you know, is something that, you know, and when you talk about the moment you let go was the moment things began to move, because we do, we cling on to things for whatever reason, because we're unsure, we trust ourselves more than we trust, you know, God or things like that. But I think there's some real truth in that, you know, that's what faith is, you know. So really powerful, bro. I really appreciate that. And I've only got a couple more things to sort of ask you.
I thought you were going to say jump on rendergathering.com.
Nah, bro.
If you want to... Big ups to all the wives and all the partners, how
Yeah.
special they are. Eh?
Yeah, because it's part of what makes us who we are, right? But now, I mean, you're obviously back here playing, and the team's travelling, good. But outside of that, you know, what does Charnze's life look like? Do you have any other interests or other things you sort of think this is what I like to do when I'm not playing footy or when footy's done and dusted? Is there anything you give us some insight on, or?
Yeah, so my wife, again, she was able to be a part of a few boys overseas that, you know, were sort of forced to retire. She knows of a few boys that, you know, retirement's just around the corner for them, and it really got her thinking, my husband's going to be finishing up, not now, but I'm signed for 3 years, and it could be then. So we've got to get things in place, and we've got a pretty cool hobby that we love doing, and that's drinking coffee. We did it while we were traveling overseas, which was pretty cool. We had a coffee in every country, and it led us to sort of wanting to start our own coffee stuff. So we've just brought a coffee card, and we're in talks with Altura Coffee, which sponsors the Warriors at the moment, about getting a few things done there that could help us out. And at the moment, that's the journey. We started a clothing line last year called Perseverance. So it's all about persevering for us. There's a scripture that it's built on. And yeah, it's really important for us to try and do stuff that we're enjoying now while we are playing footy, because it'll come around fast. I'm in my, I've been doing it since I was 15, but I still remember what happened then.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, the show's called Find Your Front. You know, again, it's rugby league language. It's a term that anyone in the game understands and knows in terms of finding momentum, quick play of the ball, benefits you, benefits your team. But when you think about it in terms of life, and you've shared a whole lot of wisdom with us today, brother, but if you were to leave a couple of pieces or things for people to think about, something salient for someone to take away around what makes Charnze well, what would you frame those things up? What would be the things that you say is what helps Charnze find his front in life?
I think it's really important to have people around you, but the right people as well. You're not going to go around, opening up to just anyone. So you gotta build those connections with people. You gotta know who you can trust, and people that you feel like are gonna be able to provide the guidance that you're needing. So I think it's really important to have the right people around you and the people that you can talk to. Also, your habits, your actions are sort of hindered by the habits that you create. So, if you're wanting to become this person or whatever, so you gotta create those habits that lead to the person that you're wanting to become.
Nice.
So it'll be about making sure that you're putting those things in place. For me, it's trying to get into reading the Bible. So in this book, James Clear, Atomic Habits, he just talks about if you're starting a habit, just do it for a minute every day. You want to create that habit. So at the start, I'd read my Bible for a minute, and then set it off, and you're making votes for the person that you want to become, and the person I want to become is someone who is faithful and
nice
knows the scripture. So,
yeah,
I think also you got no one really to blame apart from yourself. I feel like these me and my wife talk about it. These an age where you sort of get where your upbringing does affect, who you are as a person. But there's also a time where you have to draw a line in the sand, and I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be like this. You are who you hang around. Yeah. So, yeah.
Bro. Appreciate
Perseverance.com, is it? Perseverance. Is it the name?
Oh, we got to get up and running in NZ, bro. Got to get up and running. But
sponsorship, eh?
Perseverance.
Across that chest there. Perseverance. You'll wear it, eh? Ambassador.
See the Raiders jacket?
Nah, stop it now. Here we go. Bro, back to the serious part. Look, man, we thank you so much for Charnze, for your time, for your insight, for your honesty. Like, bro, I learned some things I obviously didn't know. about you, which, those are the things that make you endear closer to someone, and just understanding their story, where they come from. And I think that's the important part of all of this conversation, is that it's not just, it's actually not about footy. It's actually about what makes a person well in their world, what helps them, and what might help us might help someone else. And so we appreciate your wisdom today, bro. We appreciate your insights and in the honesty and transparency to sort of let us in a little bit into your life and your family. Those are really sacred places for people. Any last thoughts from you, Ali?
No, I just echo that, yeah. I love your story. I know it's going to help and resonate with someone else, one of the young boys out there, and the powerful of, being a parent, and it just gives you another perspective, especially for an athlete or just an adult, who to play for, you're playing for not only God, your family, but your kids too. So, you're definitely a good role model for them, but also for the many youngsters that are coming through. So, thank you once again to you and your wife, and God bless.
Sure, bro. Sure, team.
Awesome, bro. That's us.